WSPO.
There is something on fire!
Boys are playing music!
Well, quite frankly, I'm just afraid.
The Smoke Show.
Only on WSPO.
Live now.
Yeah! What's up, Wednesday? I'm Dave Crespo. This is the SPO Show. Faux Show. What's going on? What is going on? It's a beautiful day here in Salt Lake City. I am, ready as like one can be for being ready. Seems like my internet is shitty. Thanks to, I don't know, this area in South Salt Lake is insane, especially with the internet. We feel like there's a guy down the street, and this is a conspiracy theory. Obviously, Utah loves its conspiracy theories, but there's a guy down the street that he has like big like wireless towers and like satellites set up and this and that. It's I don't know. It's a lot. It's just I think that it affects the internet here. The last show I had like an Ethernet cable running downstairs. We'll see how bad it gets. Maybe I'll have to do that again. This is a SPO show, though. It is, May 25th, which is a Wednesday at 1 here in the mountains. And it's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I bring that up because a lot of the show's kind of like half Boston, half Salt Lake, which is truly me at this point in my life. First part of the show, we generally start with the Bostonians, and that will be the case today for sure. Heart-Shaped Lakes is going to be chiming in pretty soon. I'm going to get into one of their songs. They are playing at the Union Tavern this coming Thursday, which is in Union Square in Somerville, Massachusetts, formerly PA's Lounge, which is a place that I used to book, and I used to have some fun times there. And since COVID is over, I'm back doing that and helping out with a few dates out there. I was just out there. I got to get a sentiment of what, Boston's music scene has been going through, which, from what I understand, has been absolutely tumultuous in the past few years. I find myself lucky to be here in Salt Lake, or have been here in Salt Lake during the pandemic, just because the music scene here kept on going at some level, but there, I would like to help from the bottom, I guess, because I'm not there, or from afar, help a resurrection. But the resurrection it's occurring. I was at Porch Fest, which was like, I don't know, the 14th of May or something like that. And Porch Fest was amazing. Meanwhile, here in Salt Lake, Mural Fest was happening, which was also amazing. Just some great outdoor events. It is warm out. It's finally warm out, which is good and bad for live local music. It's good if it's outside, if it's not too hot. It's bad if people don't go because they're going to the ocean, they're going hiking, all these things. But I think, so Heart-Shaped Lakes is going to be in just a little bit. And then shortly after that, about halfway through this hour, because I think it's an hour-long show. I mean, I think because like that's what I've planned for it to be, but who knows? It could go longer. Then Shayna Floyd from Quarters DLC. The DLC Quarters is an arcade bar in Salt Lake City. The DLC is the music venue that they've been courageous enough to put inside. I don't think it took too much courage, but nonetheless, like, there's an awesome music venue in there, and a year they've been operating, so now they're celebrating it with a battle of the bands, which is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm actually partaking in it. We'll hear more about this. We'll talk. There'll be many things to say about the battle of the bands. Nonetheless, I'm pumped. Can't wait. It's gonna be a great time. But right now, I think let's get into a song by Heart-Shaped Lakes. These guys and people. Let's just say people. I don't know if there's any female members of the band. They're going to be playing at the Union Tavern with Sorry Ma, Take Us Alive, which is my dude, Chris Cucinato, that I used to play drums with. I didn't play drums. He played the drums. And Tony DiBiase. I don't know if I got that right. But they're playing at the Union Tavern this Thursday, so you should go down to that show. But right here, Heart-Shaped Lakes, which is from southern Mass, Belchertown. Or not southern, it's like kind of like south middle of the state Mass. Here's a song called Good Grief, A Violent Dream, and The Scenic Route. I can definitely associate with that. We'll be right back here on the SPO Show in just a second. Stick around. Alright, we are back. I am back. But now, we are back. Boom. What's up, Jackson?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much. Welcome to the SPO Show.
Thank you, man.
It's nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah. I'm here in Salt Lake City. You're, from what I understand, in Belchertown, Massachusetts.
I am.
Which is like, if this is Massachusetts and like here is the tail. That's Cape Cod. It's like right there, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Belchertown is famous for where my first roommate in college was from. He had an addiction to sugar, and specifically syrup. Yeah. And it was my first time living with someone that I wasn't related to. And my good friend, he's my friend, but I wouldn't say good necessarily. He would leave like syrup on the radiator that was next to my bed. And wow, it was something. It was an experience. And that's what I expect of, I guess, all people from Belchertown. Is this something that...
Yeah, pretty much. I tend to leave syrup on radiators quite often. So.
Okay. I figured when I looked up Heart-Shaped Lakes, which you guys are playing on Thursday at the Union Square Tavern. When I was looking up the band, I saw that you're from Belchertown. And I was like, classic, must be a radiator syrup guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, all the time.
Tell me about this band, though, Jackson, other than the fact that you're from Belchertown.
Well, pretty much it's kind of a continuation of a band that I started when I was like 9 called Gold Flame. We put out a bunch of stuff, 2 full lengths.
Wait, you said you started at 9 years old? You had a band?
Yeah.
A real band at 9?
Yeah. And
wow. That's
so
sick.
We actually just put out like the greatest hits of that band last Friday. And but yeah, so that was like a whole thing. And then I was like, I really don't like this name. I came up with it as a Pokemon
Why not?
reference.
What was it about the name that you were like, was it Gold Flakes?
Gold Flame, and it was
Gold
one
Flame.
word, but the G and the F were capitalized.
Okay.
I was 9 years old, and I was like, that looks so dope.
I think you were right as a 9-year-old. 9-year-olds don't make like the worst decisions.
That is
You know?
so true. I should have kept that.
I'm not saying you should keep it. I also think Heart-Shaped Lakes is a great name too.
Thank you. I think it's much better.
What's the difference though between Heart-Shaped Lakes and Gold Flame? Since you said it's a continuation, what's like the middle point that it went from here to like, different direction?
It was originally just like, we're just gonna change the name, but I think Heart-Shaped Lakes is a little darker.
Okay. Are you a little darker as a result?
I am. I think because with Gold Flame, I wasn't wearing any makeup on stage, and now I am wearing makeup on stage, so it's a little darker.
And okay, that's funny that you like openly. You're like, the makeup was why, man. It's like,
yeah,
it's totally. That's what brought you to put some makeup on? Like, what's the? I don't know. That's really the change?
I mean, that's kind of the visible change, but
Okay.
I think it just feels very new, even though not a lot has changed. Like we have, I can't talk about that yet. We have some like cool stuff with like signing. Like I can't.
Oh
talk
shit!
About that yet.
Okay, all right. But
yeah.
stay tuned, Heart-Shaped
Stay
Lakes
tuned.
fans.
I think we're
Lots
just
coming.
better
Okay.
than
So-
Gold Flame.
So you needed like maybe the brand needed to be redefined at that point. in time.
Yeah, exactly. Because like
Okay.
I had Gold Flame kind of became a joke in my hometown because we put out this record called Illusion in 2014, and it had this song on it called Wimp, and and I got bullied so much for that song. The song is horrible, but like maybe I deserve to get bullied for it. But
Isn't that gonna happen though, as a teenager, as like a person that is actually putting their dick on the line and like saying things that are coming from inside? And then there's naturally you're a teenager and you're like other teens don't necessarily have that ability, whether it's like their home life doesn't, let that happen. I don't know. I think that maybe you're getting attacked simply because you were attackable.
Oh yeah, and because like Belchertown definitely isn't like a hub for creativity and the arts. It's more like if you don't play football, not to be like stereotypically like, oh, football, like the football kids were the cool kids, and if you were in band, then you were a nerd. And I was in band, so I was a nerd. And I also wore black t-shirts to school every day and had like swoopy hair. And I was the only person in my school who did that. So
how old are you now?
I'm turning 21 in August.
Okay. So it's been, that's what, like 12 years? I can't really do that math right now.
Yeah.
12 years that you've been playing music, at least, because you probably were playing music before you were 9 if you're starting a band.
I actually started the band before I got my first guitar.
Okay.
So
I mean,
the band
that
came first, and then music came after.
I think in Boston, people got to understand, or in Salt Lake, people have to understand about Boston that there's a rule. First thing you do is you name the band. No, rather,
Exactly.
no. The first thing you do is book the show. Second thing you do is
Really?
name the band. Third thing you do is get the band together, and then fourth is write the songs. And I mean, this is obviously a ridiculous, like people don't do it that way necessarily, but it's just a joke on like how fast shows happen out there.
Yeah.
But so you name the band, you just were like drawn to it. You knew that you wanted to be in a band.
Yeah, I heard the opening riff to "Welcome to Paradise" by Green Day. I had their little greatest hits CD, and I popped it in. And Maria started too slow. Pop Rocks and Coke was too slow. Longview started too slow. And then I got to "Welcome to Paradise," and it just starts with "Damn it!" And I was like, "Oh my god!" And my mind exploded. And then I think I started the band like that night.
Isn't that like? I don't know. It's just funny how that record, Dookie, just continues to influence people and make a difference. How do you feel about Green Day now, though? Or you know, the later stage Green Day? Are you still a fan? Because I was growing up, like American Idiot was like it's like kind of cool, but like
that's my favorite record ever, all time.
Yeah,
favorite record. That and Black Parade. But new Green Day.
What about Say Anything?
Say Anything. That band had.
Have you listened to Is a Real Boy?
Oh my god, I was just gonna say that's like one of my favorite albums of all time. But
yeah, but the rest of the shit, we're not even talking about the rest of their discography. Yeah. Like that's not.
In Defense was pretty good.
I disagree. I just can't.
I really like the songs with Kenny from the Starting Line.
Yep.
That song is really good, and of course the song with Gerard Way.
Sweet. So let's get back to Heart-Shaped Lakes, Belchertown. You know, it's on the end of Massachusetts. So you kind of find yourself in the Connecticut music scene in reality. Oh, yeah. What is it like currently in Connecticut? Because when I was growing up, Connecticut was like, you know, you had Hamden, which had the Space. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Space.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
But that was like maybe the biggest all ages venue like east of the Mississippi. And I don't even think it is an all ages venue anymore. I think it's straight up a bar.
Yeah, it is.
But Connecticut ultimately was known as like all ages DIY shows. Is it still that way? And do you find, you know, Heart-Shaped Lakes to be influenced by that?
Oh yeah, definitely. We started off like when we were still Gold Flame. There was this place. Well, it's still there, but there's this place called Red Nawa. It's called now. It used to be called the Red Room, and I still call it that because it's just a big red room. And we would play there. We played there like a bunch of times, and then we played a bunch last year there as Heart-Shaped Lakes. And it's just that like venue feels like home to us, and a lot of other venues like around Connecticut that we've played, but like that one like specifically is which is in Middletown, Connecticut. So shout out Red Nawa. But yeah, I can't wait to play there.
But there's still like all ages shows happening.
Oh yeah,
like,
all the time. Yeah,
like commercial, industrial zones.
Yeah, there's like the Beer X and stuff like that.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I mean in Massachusetts, it's you got a lot of clubs that exist, and I don't know. There's just less and less all ages shows going on.
Yeah, those are mostly like house shows and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like you can't really talk about the future of the band.
I can talk about a little bit.
A little. Okay. I mean, if you want to dice upon it, let's do this first though. I've got your record, which is called Good Grief, A Violent Dream, and The Scenic Route. And I want to talk about the scenic route part of this, because, you know, in Western Mass, there are some scenic routes, but what's the furthest that you've driven away from Massachusetts and Connecticut?
I think the furthest I've driven It's probably New Hampshire or Maine, I think.
Oh man.
And it was literally to watch a sunset on a mountain.
Yeah, that's
so
why
it was
you
literally to witness a scenic route.
I think that is I guess what I'm saying is you need to experience more sunsets upon a mountain.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
This record, I think we just played Going Down. I want to spin another song and then we'll come back and chat a little more. What song should I hit?
Everything's Great. That one's a little underrated, but I love that song so much.
Sweet. Here's Everything's Great. Oh, I thought you said gray. I thought you were saying Everything's gray, and I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of a dark one. Everything's Great, though. It's not dark at all. This is Heart Shaped Lakes. They're going to be at the Union Tavern this coming Thursday, so stick around. We'll be right back to chat more with Jackson on The Spo Show.
I can, or go with it when it grabs my hand. Things get so complicated these days. I fucking hate it. Don't talk to me, don't talk to me. I don't have anything for you. You don't gotta ask, I don't gotta tell you, but everything's great. Everything's fine. I still got the makeup kit that gave me fitting for brown eyes. Everything's great.
unreal. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. You there, Jackson?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. So my cat, I don't want to say his name because he might do it again. My cat, during that awesome song, it's called "Everything's Great" by Heart-Shaped Lakes. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thank you.
My cat jumped up on my board, and I don't even know what happened, but it's just like chaos ensued. And I was like, "No, you're gonna ruin everything."
Oh my god.
Yes, yeah. So that was amazing, man. I love that song.
Thank
It's
you.
very cool. So what happens after the show on Thursday? What's next for Heart-Shaped Lakes?
We got a show on Saturday in Gardner, Mass, I believe.
Okay.
And then a bunch of shows in June, which I think only one of them has been announced. But we have another one, which I don't know if we could talk about. But then we have fuck it. I'll announce it now, and then we'll announce the dates later. We have a tour for July and August booked right now. It's like mid-July to early August. So, and then we have, hopefully, we'll have the new record out by the end of the year. Hopefully, I'm really hoping.
That's sick. Where do people find Heart-Shaped Lakes on the internet? They're watching the show right now. What do they got to plug in?
They can go to Twitter. It's a heart-shaped and then LKS because couldn't fit it all. Heart-Shaped Lakes on Instagram. Heartshapedlakes.bandcamp.com. We have a YouTube channel with like a couple hundred subscribers. You can just look up Heart-Shaped Lakes.
Sick.
And yeah, that's kind of it.
I love it. Jackson, you are an honorable man. Thank you for joining the SPO show. I think it was a pretty fun time. Do you have any parting words for people out there? Any words of wisdom as your 20-year-old self that is rocking? You don't have to have any.
Make sure you change your bass strings while you're
Change
recording.
Your bass strings while you're... All right. I like that.
That's a very important lesson I've learned recently.
I'm going to give you some knowledge, young Jackson.
I love knowledge.
My knowledge to you is actually from yourself. It is Go West, Young Man. Here's Heart-Shaped Lakes. Here's a song named Go West, Young Man. Live from Salt Lake City, I am Dave Crespo. This is The SPO Show. We'll be right back with Shayna Floyd of Quarters DLC. Going to be talking about the Battle of the Bands coming up this Saturday and many other things. But here's some Heart-Shaped Lakes. See them on Thursday at the Union Tavern in Somerville. We'll be right back with The SPO Show. Faux show. Spo Show. I've returned. That was awesome. Heart-shaped lakes. Go west, young man. I don't know. Maybe that's not for everybody. That's just for some people. This is the Spo Show. This happens. It seems to be on Wednesdays at 1 if you're in the mountains, 3 p.m. if you're back in Beantown. Let me introduce to you my next guest, our next guest, really. If I feel like this is an experiential show. Shayna Floyd. What's up, Shayna? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of smelly, to be honest, if we want to break the fourth wall.
Good thing this is virtual then, huh?
I know. Yeah, because usually I'd have a studio and I'd have people come in and I'd have to like bathe and stuff like that, and that's not as fun.
Those days are over. Thanks, COVID.
I know, and I used to be really adverse to like doing call-ins. I don't know. I got like anxiety or whatever. I don't know. Call-ins can be stressful, but this medium, actually, not to like promote the hell out of it, but StreamYard makes it extremely easy to do. So I don't know. Here we are, Wednesdays at 1 to 2. If you're in the mountains, Shayna, you have completed your first year at the DLC.
Yes.
Is it Quarters DLC? Is that the best way to refer to it? What's the?
That's the name on Instagram and all the
Yeah.
socials. The DLC in Quarters Arcade Bar. Hopefully one day we'll just be able to be called the DLC.
Yeah.
Because people will know where we are. But right now, since we don't have a sign outside, it's just go into Quarters Arcade and find us in the back.
Yeah, near the pinball machines. You go
Yes.
in, take a bang a right, but that's actually that way for you. Internet right, and go play some pinball games, and then go pay the cover and go see some awesome shows. When I moved here from Boston, because I too am a transplant, I believe, from what I saw, Shayna, you're from Seattle.
Yes.
That's awesome. More on that soon. But when I moved here, I said what this city needs is a venue that fits like 150 people. And then Quarters happened, and I was there all the time, and I love it. So thank you for filling that need. What's it been like to do that, though? The struggles, the victories, all of it.
It's been great. To be honest, we kind of just came out of the gate running. As soon as we opened our doors and had our first show, I reached out to some local bookers, mostly SNS, and just told them we were here. And if they had anyone that they couldn't book, just to send them our way, or someone that needed a smaller venue.
And that's exactly what I was saying,
Yeah.
like, was needed. You know, a lot of their shows, they've got bigger venues, and, you know, I just think that the standard of, like, bringing 200, 300 people to a show is a pretty high standard for a local band. So,
Definitely.
you know, a smaller venue like Quarters, and there's other ones, too, that have popped up in the past year. Just they're huge for the development of a band, and then ultimately a music scene.
Yeah, and you know, before this last few years, we had, you know, Kilby, and once in a while we'd have like, the loading dock has been off and on. They kind of open up and then get shut down and open up again.
But those are all ages venues.
They are, but that's the other thing. It's pretty funny
just
to
like-
try to get like a 21 plus to go to an all ages venue. It's a feat. So
It's just that, I mean, I'll go, but it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like when you're excluding alcohol, you're like, it's just like, why not just have it there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I get it. They don't want it around the kids and whatnot, but
I mean, back in the day when I went to Kilby, you just drank in the parking lot.
yeah. So
So-
like, what are we really doing in that case? Like, you're
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's mostly Utah liquor laws, you know. In a lot of states, you can have some people drinking booze and others not allowed to, but not here. So, unfortunately.
So how long have you been in Salt Lake? You just mentioned that back in the day you went to Kilby.
Yeah.
So what's the trends?
Sorry. So I've been here this time around for 5 years. I moved here from Seattle, as I said before, to go to school. So I'm going to the U right now, and just sort of happened into the Quarter scene. But before that, when I was in high school, I actually lived here in Salt Lake City. And that was very early 2000s. And I was going to school on the east side, and the music scene here was crazy. I just remember going to shows. Like, as soon as I moved here, kids were like, what show are we going to this weekend? That was just the culture, at least in my school. So I got really into the scene. I spent almost every weekend at Kilby. But back then we also had a ton of other venues like the Junction and Lo-Fi Cafe, Albee Square. You could always sneak into Bert's Tiki Lounge or Big Deluxe. So there was like a lot more options than there were when I moved back here this last time. So that's the scene I was used to.
Did you feel like you had an obligation to be a part of something new? Is that part of what the existence of Quarters is, or is it just something that, like, how did it come about for you?
Honestly, I kind of just heard that an arcade bar was opening up, and back in Seattle, I had a favorite arcade bar that I would hang out at. So once I heard Quarters was opening, I applied for a job and started bartending here. And it's such a huge space. If you've been here, you know, it's just an enormous amount of room. So when they first opened, they kind of sectioned off certain areas of the bar to open up at later dates. And what is now the DLC was supposed to just be more pinball machines. But we started talking. There was already a stage back here. So me and one of the owners, Michael, sort of are aging punks, and we kind of talked about what it would be like to have shows back here. Maybe we should look into it. He's got some friends that are in bands that tour and just have a hard time booking a show in Salt Lake, so it kind of just started to happen. And yeah, and now here we are a year later. Our original open date was back in March 2020. Obviously that didn't happen, but
yeah, that was a peculiar month to start something.
Mm-hmm. And back in the day, when I was in high school, I did end up working at Lo-Fi Cafe, which used to be right across from where the Salt Palace is, near Benihana's. That was like an all-ages venue, but they booked all sorts of shows, from like local shows to sort of bigger. I mean, Orgy played there once, which was kind of crazy. I mean, obviously it was like past their prime, but so I had always worked there.
I don't feel like Orgy's prime was like a really large like scope of time, so I feel like
it was like a summer.
Yeah. And also their hit song's a cover, so it's like, what
how far were you gonna get? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, there's
Limp
people who
Bizkit, I guess, made it a little further, but but yeah, so I always wanted to book, like when I was in the scene back then, I always wanted to have that job. My buddy Jake was the one who booked for Lo-Fi at the time that I worked there, and I always kind of idolized it. I would like try to help my friends in bands make press packets and do flyers and stuff, and I always just wanted to be more ingrained in the scene. That's probably because I have almost no musical talent, so I wanted to help the scene in other ways. And so when this opportunity came around, I just basically inserted myself as the booker and the manager of this space. Is
it more fun than stressful? Because I spent years being a booking agent, and it is very stressful, and especially I can't even imagine what my life would be like if I was doing that during the pandemic. Yeah, and I had absolutely zero experience doing anything like this before I started doing it here, so I was kind of starting from zero and just reading blogs online and asking questions, talking to all of my friends that are in bands about what they experience, what they like and don't like, and just getting advice. But I'd say like it's fun every single day, and then maybe 30% of the days it's stressful. Yeah, it's a lot. Back in Massachusetts, it was a different story. Somewhat, you know, They didn't have shows for like almost 2 years. So, you know, and then, I don't know, the cancellations are still happening there because of COVID and this and that. But Quarters is one of these places that in Salt Lake that has, I think, thrived during the pandemic and really kept this music scene going. And it's only been a year. So this Battle of the Bands, let's talk a little bit about the Battle of the Bands. It's this Saturday, May 28th. Now, this is the anniversary party for the DLC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we opened actually last year on the 27th of May was our very first official show. We had a couple of like little shows before that, but that was our first like coming out party, I guess. And so, yeah, it's been 1 year, and we decided to celebrate with a big show. I kind of actually stole the idea from Dan in Milk Money. Okay.
He last summer wanted to do like a Battle of the Bands type showcase. He never ended up doing it, so I told him I was going to steal the idea. So.
Yeah, as you should. I want to talk a little more about that, but first let's hear one of the bands that's playing. This is Slick Velveteen's Mind Trip. We'll be right back. We're going to play this song, and then we'll talk more to Shayna Floyd. But this song before then. Oh my God. It's been doing this. It's like SoundCloud has to play ads these days. It's
Bummer.
It is a bummer.
Everyone's
like,
got to make money, I guess.
Why do we got to do that?
Everyone wants that ad money. That sweet
oh my
ad money.
God, it's insanity. Well, so instead, here's some Strawberry Cough. We'll be right back. Faux show. I have returned. We have returned. Shayna from Quarters DLC. That was some Strawberry Cough. They're playing this Saturday at the Quarters DLC Battle of the Band's first annual. You think you'll do a second?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes, right? Unless it's a complete catastrophe.
Well,
but I don't think so. Not with this lineup. It's going to be a really fun show.
Let's talk about the lineup. So it was picked out of a hat. That's true.
Yeah, out of a bucket. We have a bucket in the DLC for tips for the bartender, and bands have slowly just covered it in their stickers. So we use that as the
Naturally.
prop. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Shysters are playing Strawberry Cough, as I had mentioned, Slick Velveteens, which I was trying to play a little earlier, Cudney, and I have been lucky enough to find myself on this bill with my newest band, Beneath the Sparrows.
Yeah.
So what did a band dropped off and we ended up as like you like redrew it?
Yeah. Modern Speed was the original pick,
yes.
but one of their members is doing something for the holiday weekend, so
Naturally.
they had to drop off. Yeah, I mean, going with the family somewhere probably.
Yeah. I was very interested in this Battle of the Bands no matter what. So I'm very excited to be a part of it. But
yeah, that video you guys just put out for the Battle of the Bands is beautiful.
I mean, that's all
Absolutely
Jordan. Jordan is this
He
guy. Jordan Jaeger is his name. He's got the most hair for not having any hair in this city in the rock scene. But he's just like this dude I met at the Shades open mic, and like to anybody that's not from Utah, the open mic scene here in Utah is just like it's important, it's integral to the scene, I feel. And so I met him over at Shades just around the corner from you, and he's just been, I don't know, just a ball of energy, and that video is proof of it.
Beautiful. I hope he's wearing that shiny spandex to the show. That's all I gotta say.
You're in for more than just that. That is gonna be.
Can't wait. Yeah, I know. The email I sent out was trying to encourage all the bands to do a thing. I know Slick Velveteens are pretty, they do a lot of costume and a lot of flair. So, and Shysters are complete weirdos as well. So I'm hoping for some interesting acts.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun night, regardless of what happens. I cannot wait for it. But I was at first really interested in it because I think that Salt Lake City needs a Battle of the Bands as a music scene. There's the Velour that does their thing, which is like the elephant in the room. And I don't know, I just feel like there's the nature here is maybe apathetic to competition, but it's not like about competition necessarily. It's about community. And the community here in Salt Lake is amazing, and I talked to Bean Cat about that a few weeks ago. I know she does some work over there. But I guess my question to you about this is, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it, is like, is that a part of like wanting to put on this battle, or are you just think it's a fun idea and you're trying to rock it with a space theme?
No, honestly, the space has been made by the local bands. They've been so great. They've been so kind. We try to do everything we can for them. We are mostly focused on our local scene. We do have touring bands that come through, but like the focus here is we want our local musicians to feel loved, to feel taken care of, to feel like they have a space where they can, do whatever they need to do to express themselves creatively. We want to be that space for them. And the show is going to be sort of like a thank you. I'm going to be sending out invites to all the bands that have played in the last year to get them to come out, and so we can just celebrate them. There's some bands that I know pretty well that have, and you've made yourself definitely a big part of this as well. A lot more outgoing people that have just sort of like taken this space as almost like adopting it as partly theirs, and I really like that. I definitely can't do this on my own, and I really love that people have taken ownership of this space. So this is just supposed to be like a blowout to like, we did it for a year, let's keep doing it, let's keep making it better.
What about plans for the future? Is there anything that you're like, your 16-year-old self over at Kilby like would love to make happen? And this doesn't even have to be a quarters thing. Like, you just putting on shows, and like what would tease your fancy
Yeah, the goal this last year has just been basically getting a grasp of what it means to book a venue and run a venue, and trying to get all of the systems to sort of run themselves so I don't have to come to every show, which is where we've gotten to now. All of our staff is really incredible, but this next year I really want to plan on doing more events, maybe do some festivals. I know you talked to Bean Cat recently. She put on an amazing Hometown Theory Festival, and I would like to do more under the DLC name, whether it's down here or elsewhere, just putting stuff together. I also want to encourage local musicians to come to me with ideas. We've got some people doing a cool Halloween show. And we've had some people with interest of doing a femme open mic on one Sunday a month or something. We have the Geekin' Out, which is basically a queer variety show we do every month. And I would like to do a lot more of that, where we can kind of showcase the local talent on a regular basis. So if anyone has any ideas for cool events or things, please contact me. I would love to do it. But yeah, that's what I want to do. Is I feel like those types of events where we kind of include other parts of the community and the local musicians is how we're going to build this scene. Truly.
I think the email is thedlc@quarterslc.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sorry to put your info out there, but
no, that's it. That's great. Yeah, and it's also listed on the Instagram, and the Facebook also have that email listed. If you DM the Instagram, there's a 1 in 3 chance you'll actually get it to me, because we have other people checking and managing that.
Boom.
But
there it is.
Email, I read every single email. I try to respond within 1 or 2 days. So yeah, thank you. Perfect. Yeah. So any ideas, if you want to book a show, if you have ideas for a cool event, just let me know. I'd love to do it. Yeah, I want this to be a community space. We're going to have our first burlesque show in a couple months. We're going to do a comedy show in a couple of months. So we're going to integrate other arts as well into this. But it is mostly, we're going to focus on local music venue.
It is a battle of the bands on Saturday.
Yes.
But like you said, the bands that were selected, it is at random.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a band that you have seen this year that you wish had gotten picked out of that tip jar that's slotted with a bunch of stickers on it?
There was some bands that have played here a bunch that didn't even register. That kind of bummed me out. But in particular, I mean, there's some bands that are they also work here, and so they didn't feel comfortable. They didn't think it would be a good idea. So Mo and Emma that work here in Daytime Lover, I think they would have been a great addition. And Miss King, every time I see them, they just blow me away. I couldn't believe they didn't enter.
They didn't enter. That's who I really wanted to see participating. Miss King is one of my favorite local bands in the city. And they just keep getting better and better each time. Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there's others too that are
many. There's so many bands that have booked once and then just I have never heard from them again. And yeah, there's just so much local. So when I first moved back here, we were talking about how there just wasn't a few years ago. There just wasn't a whole lot of venue options for local bands, smaller venues. There are more now with the International Lounge, Aces High, Black Lung opened, Beehive's up and running again. So that's great. But I came back and I had lived here when it was just popping off. The scene was just crazy. The Used had just blown up and everyone was like, oh, who's going to be the next one, right?
Yeah.
So when I moved back, I was like, oh, maybe it's just these kids listen to this electronic music and local music isn't as good here anymore. And so when we decided
What year was it that you moved back?
I came back in 2017.
See, that's the year.
Yeah, and so
that is the year. Because I mean, ever since, property has just gone up and up and up, and it's insane. But at that point in time, it was just this bed just waiting for us to return or come.
Yeah, and then in 2019, when we decided to open this place up, I started going to local shows like it was my job, and I was completely blown away by the talent that I was seeing. And they're great. I mean, any kind of genre of music, just so talented. So it's not, it wasn't for lack of talent. It was for lack of spaces. So even with the people that I have to turn away for bookings, we could have 2 or 3 more venues of our size. open up, and we would
We
still
could if
have
the
two
city would
different-
allow it.
Yeah.
It's today I find myself in a few different situations here in South Salt Lake, and I'm going to be going down to City Hall, essentially, to talk to them about. I mean, I don't want to go too into it, but basically, like, being favorable to having music and arts spaces, not just like performances and like Mural Fest, but places of business in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like I said, 2017 was this time that, you know, I looked at Salt Lake City and I was like, holy shit, you can live in a place for that cheap? Like, what the? And that has changed in just 3 years. I heard yesterday on NPR that this is the fastest growing rent prices, highest, like, you know, and in the country. And I just wonder how that's going to affect the music scene. I've seen it affect, I saw it affect Boston pretty heavily, although that's a huge place. So
Yeah, and
but this is
Seattle,
not.
where I'm from, it's a totally different city than when I lived there a few years ago. Definitely,
Yeah.
because of that same thing.
So you moved to Seattle when you were young, and you saw the music scene there. And from what ages were you in your life that you were seeing music up there?
So I moved up there when I was 20, and then was there until I was 29, so about 9 years. The last, like, 7 years of that, I was actually working on boats, so I only spent part of the year in Seattle.
That's pretty badass, though.
Yeah. So
What
I
were
was
you doing on boats?
I was working as a deckhand and worked my way up to navigation officer, so second mate.
Okay. That's like
Totally.
that's
different
why you're
life.
able to do the grind, the grunt work of being a booking
Oh,
agent.
man. Yeah, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 6 weeks at a time.
You were a mariner.
Yeah, I was. I have my captain's license.
You were a Seattle Mariner.
Yeah, I was a Seattle Mariner. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they had like a hardcore heavy metal bar up there on Capitol Hill that I would go to all the time, and I basically lived there. And
But Seattle's a place that, like, the government, you know, you roll into their airport and they're promoting Pearl Jam. Like, I saw some Pearl Jam screen prints, like a whole exhibit of it when I was there a few months ago. I feel like that's a city that is at some level dedicated to its music scene, and puts some dollars behind it or some legislature behind it, in both.
Sort of. I mean, a lot of it too is they just have this nostalgia for a time when they were this huge thing. I mean, the local scene up there is still great, but I think what makes it thrive is that you can just walk down the street and there's just live music playing in different bars all around. I mean, it's the same thing down in Austin or in Tennessee. These, like, music cities, you need to be able to just walk around, pop in, and see some live music.
Austin is a place that you can get healthcare as a musician just by solely, like, saying that you
that's
are on
true.
your taxes, and they have parking spaces that are specifically made for loading in and out. You know, in the city of Boston, they'll you know, tow your car in a second. Not really. It's you can pull some hazards on and load in and out. But nonetheless, these are, you know, Austin. If you want to bring up Austin, that's a city that truly has money and legislature that, like, tries to bring people there. It's the live music capital of the world. I don't know.
I think we can build that too. I think with, like, I mean, Boise building up Treefort, right? Like, so now that unfortunately you have to just show that there's money in it, right? And so if you can bring in a bunch of people,
I don't know is it money or is it people? Like,
I mean, either
maybe it's
one.
money. Yeah.
I think just like showcasing that, like, this is a real big part of our, I mean, Treefort was, you know, nothing. And then now it's huge, you know, you just need to.
And that's a city that needed something to latch
I mean,
onto.
yeah, what else? You know, Boise's a college town, but you know, outside of that, no one would have suspected that. Like,
the only thing
when I get
ever
emails
knew-
from bands, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to South by Southwest and Treefort." Like, that's something they mention as, like, a badge of honor.
Boise, the only thing I knew about Boise before moving out here was that their college has a blue field. I don't know if you've ever seen their blue football field, but it's insane. Like, I don't know, look it up. Like, why is it blue field.
Does it come off on the players? Do they end up blue by the end of the game?
No, it's like
Okay.
total AstroTurf.
Oh, okay. They don't just paint grass.
No, I've got some. I mean, this will be weird to look at, but I'll show you this picture. In the meantime, again, this Saturday, check out the Quarters DLC Battle of the Bands. It's gonna be a really fun time. Strawberry Cough, Slick Velveteens, Cudney, Shysters, Beneath the Sparrows. I think I've said all the band names.
Yeah, we're also going to have live printing happening here from Copper Palette. One of the owners of Copper Palette works here at Quarters, so we got him, one of his coworkers is going to be in the back printing out t-shirts. Just bring your own t-shirt, anything cotton. We should be able to print. We'll have patches. We're going to be printing on some canvas patches you can buy as well. And then we're going to have cupcakes from Sweet Vinyl Bake Shop here as well that are like booze and flavored cupcakes.
And it's a space theme, outer space theme.
Yeah, cosmic.
Cosmic theme. So make sure to dress up in your spacious ways, whatever that exactly means to you. But
I want astronauts. I want aliens. I want spaceships. I want to see it all.
Like crazy ass shit, as crazy as this blue field. Look at this field. Like that is what is going on there? Why would you do that? But
Why? At least we're not pretending that it's real grass anymore. I guess you just do what you want with it.
Yeah, it's definitely not real grass. That is the case.
Wild.
Shayna Floyd, you are amazing. I'm sure that this conversation is an ever long conversation of helping and saving this music scene here in Salt Lake City. And you are in the trenches of the scene. So thank you for your servitude in that.
Yeah, and again, if anyone's got any, ideas, thoughts, feelings, questions, emotions about this scene, please email me. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to.
Are you a therapist, or you're like a scene therapist? You want people to like hit you up and be like, "Listen, I need to get this off my chest.
Yeah,
I got shamed."
I feel like a lot of people do need to vent about, a lot of things, and I mean, people have ideas and they just keep them to themselves, and I want to hear them. I want to know what their plans are, because I don't know what's best for this scene. I have ideas, but if anyone else has some thoughts, send them my way. We can talk it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
The email again, if you do have any ideas, the DLC at quarterslc.com.
Yes.
Any other places people should find you on the internet, Shayna?
My personal account's private because my opinions are not shared by the DLC.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's nothing crazy, but yeah, just follow us on Instagram, Quarters DLC. That's where we post all of the information. You can get tickets at Quarters slc.com/the DLC. That'll have a list of all of our upcoming events. Buy tickets there. Check us out. Wander around Quarters, peek in the back door. Just listen to a little bit of music if you're nervous.
I have one
outside.
final question about Quarters.
Yeah.
And that is, what's your favorite game, and why isn't it Ninja Turtles? Turtles in Time.
Oh, how did you know it wasn't?
I mean, I just know. I just have a feeling that it's like some like Invader or something like that. You seem like you're an old school like 8-bit. Like
honestly, I'm mostly like a pinball nerd. I love
Okay.
pinball. I did a zine on it. Me and the owner actually did a podcast for a little while on pinball. We might start up again. It's pretty nerdy. So that's been my favorite. I love the Elvira we have here called Scared Stiff. But
what happened to Rick and Morty?
It's back out.
Okay, all right.
Everything dies eventually. We
Okay.
have thousands of people playing every week, so things die, but they will return. I promise.
That's the hardest pinball game. I'm terrible at pinball, but like that one,
it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
100% spooky. The company that makes it, they make it hard. But my favorite game right now, I'm on a mission. It's me versus this other guy. I'm assuming it's a guy because I don't know. It could be a woman. But I'm just assuming it's some like comic book nerd from The Simpsons coming in and destroying my Joust top score. So me and this mystery person are going at it. So currently
I told you it was some
8-bit
shit.
I hate it. I hate the physics on it, but for some reason I'm just addicted to it. So yeah.
I'm gonna have to try some Joust out. I think last time I played there, I was number 3 in the old school Ninja Turtles game.
Nice.
But I don't think
Yeah.
a lot of people really go hard on Ninja Turtles. It's kind of a passive, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try it a little bit.
Yeah,
But-
just like you and your 3 drunkest friends playing it. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's really about how many quarters you put into it. So it's like, you know.
definitely. Yeah,
you can
and
get
we're
that
actually opening a second location for quarters in Sugar House, so we're gonna have even more games.
Do you think that there's going to be bands over there too?
There is a plan. There is
Okay.
a plan. There isn't like a space for a venue like there is here. It's a much smaller space,
Uh-huh.
but there will be food. But thanks to the DABC, we have 12 extension of premises permits that we get a year. So we're hoping to do some outdoor backyard shows and such.
So this is
over
a
there.
funny. I'm just gonna pitch this at you. You want ideas?
Please.
You know,
Yes.
Sergio and I had this idea, and we've it's stalled a little bit recently, but nonetheless, we have an idea for the Sugar House Sugar Joust. And basically, what this would be is 2 humans running at each other and throwing powdered sugar at each other, and then a victor being declared. How?
do you, yeah, how?
I don't know. Judges, like just
Whoever
it's-
gets the most coverage.
I
I feel like
this
most
is-
coverage would win.
Yeah, or whoever makes them, like who puts more sugar
Yeah.
on the other. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you have to be able to dodge the sugar whilst aiming.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
I mean,
that could definitely be part of it. I'm down. I'm in. Let's get weird.
we'll have
I'm
to talk
game.
more about the Sugar House Sugar Joust in the
Done.
future. Shayna, thank you so much for chatting with me. And Saturday is going to be an awesome time again. Quarters
much fun.
DLC Battle of the Bands this Saturday, May 28th. Check out Strawberry Cough, Cudney, Slick Velveteens, The Shysters, Beneath the Sparrows. It's going to be awesome. Bring your space attire, your cosmic attire.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into, I did get Slick Velveteens all ready to play, so I'm going to get into some of their tunes right here. Shayna, again, thanks for hanging out. And,
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
for sure.
You're
I'm
a
gonna play.
treasure.
I'm gonna come back for one more segment. Anybody who's watching, so stay tuned. Here's "Sweet Victim" by Slick Velveteens. I'll be right back. that's it, everybody. That's the Spo Show for today. If you're watching live, you're about to hear a new song by Radio Compass. They're a Salem, Massachusetts band. Yes, that's Witch Town. And they're releasing this whole record. I think it's out already on Bandcamp, but it's like officially coming out. Or I mean, just a single is out, which you're about to hear. Oh no. There we go. I'm back. Anyways, Radio Compass releasing this record. It's called Aloha, which means hello and goodbye. But in this case, it's going to mean goodbye. What a show that was. Heart-Shaped Lakes. Again, they're going to be at the Union Tavern, on Thursday. And then on Saturday out here in Salt Lake City, you're gonna see that Battle of the Bands at Quarters. Make sure to come to that. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a ridiculous time, to be honest. It's also Jordan Jaeger's birthday, which is the bassist of Beneath the Sparrows. So come and party with us, Salt Lake. If you're in Somerville, hit up the scene on Thursday. But I forget where this Radio Compass record releases. I should really know that if I'm gonna play the song. Radio Compass, again, they're from Salem, Massachusetts, and talk about places that have good music scenes. Salem's a kind of a funny one just because it's not like a huge city. It's really not. I mean, it is a city technically, but it's not like a metropolitan area. Okay, record release with Carissa Johnson and Oh the Humanity at Opus Underground in Salem, May 27th. So it's on Friday. This is gonna be a great show to see. Carissa is a long-time local scenester, just killing it between Boston and LA. Oh to the Humanity, they're a cool punk band from out there. But Radio Compass, well, you'll just have to listen. They're fantastic. So without further ado, I tell you, Salt Lake, to stay clean. In Boston, be good. Here's some Radio Compass for you. This song is called Run With You.
Make it